And welcome to Kelly's Bar in Youngstown, Ohio for Yards After Contact. Alongside Ryan Kelly, I'm Gary Houstu. Ryan, another big week of high school football. Week 5 is in the books already. Can you imagine? Geez, halfway through the season already. I guess let's start the biggest game on tap was the Ursuline Warren G. Harding Raider game out at Mollenkoff Stadium. Great game, hard-fought victory for Warren Harding. We'll talk to Coach Arnold here later tonight and a couple of his players. But your thoughts? You were at the game. What did you take away from that?
I mean, it's the second time that I've seen Harding play, and Lynn Bowden. Every time I see him play, it gets better. It was a lot closer than I thought it would be, and just not. That's not a slight on Ursuline. It's just they're such a young team, and Harding is just such a good team, and they impressed me. Another kid that's going to be here tonight, Marlon Richardson. He flies. He impressed me in that Fitch game. Their offensive line has gotten to where Ursuline was a few years ago when they had Bianca, they had Marks, who's still there, but Jabbar Price. They're hitting their stride now, and it's impressive to watch. And you match that with Lynn Bowden, you got a dangerous machine.
What did you think of his performance in the game? Obviously, 4 touchdowns on the ground, 1 in the air to start the game off with a 65-yard bomb for a touchdown. Great performance, huh?
I don't know who, and you'll know better than I do. I don't know who the candidates are for Mr. Football, but you're hard-pressed to tell me there's a kid better than Lynn Bowden on that list. And he's just special. He's a special player, man. He's just – and I felt like he had 4 touchdowns, and I was like, wow, I wasn't sure that Lynn had that great of a game. And, you look in the stat line, he's got 4 touchdowns.
100 yards rushing.
Yeah, it's just, yeah.
You have to be proud of your Irish. They had a hard-fought game. They're in it to the fourth quarter. Had a chance to even drive with the ball before throwing a critical interception there late in the game. What were your thoughts about how your Irish played?
Well, they're a young team, and they're a lot like what Harding was a couple years ago. And the big thing is, we saw it before Ursuline, before we had our success in a couple of state championships. You're a young team. You play a lot of young players in big games like that. And hopefully, as soon as next year, because they got a lot of juniors, but maybe in at least 2 years, those lights aren't going to be bright for anybody. And a kid like, we have a kid at Dwaylen Washington who was on our show, Dakota Hobbs. Those are guys who played for us as sophomores. And you see them on the field, and you can see how the lights aren't bright for those guys, So it's going to be, I'm hoping as soon as next year, but I'm seeing how much better they're getting each week.
Jeff Marks fighting injuries this year, isn't he, pretty much?
Yeah, I mean, listen, he's got a torn plantar fascia, and he's playing with it. I asked him last week, I said, Jeff, how's your foot? He goes, well, I just put 2 rolls of tape on it, so I don't even feel it.
So he can't feel it.
Yeah, he's like, so I don't even feel it. But, he played all 4 quarters. He's a tough kid, and he's a kid that, he's got a scholarship to the Naval Academy. He's got a career, and he could shut it down for the rest of the year if he wanted to. And that's a testament to him as a kid. He's still sticking with it, and he's there for his team. It's a senior year.
Dakota Hobbs had a decent ball game. Tristan Ballard stood out with that great interception in the end zone. Went up real high and got that. Don't know much about him.
He
looks the part, right?
Yeah, he's a big kid. And
Junior,
a kid,
I think.
And a kid, I talked about Anthony Howe. He's a basketball kid. I mean, he
looks the part.
Yeah,
boy.
He's a guy. He looks. It just those guys are basketball guys, and they're playing, but they're good. They're good football players. They're tough kids. And Anthony Howe may not have had a sack or the stat line, but if you watch film and you break it down, he was the kid who kept Lynn Bowden in check for a while. Man, he did his job.
He looks the part anyway on the
absolutely.
field. A couple injuries. A couple of your young guys are injured too as well.
Yeah. They got their number 1 running back coming in the year tore an ACL. They got a couple linemen banged up, and it's Jeff Marks, who's your best offensive lineman, can only go one way, and that stuff wears on you, especially in big games like that. It shows.
Yeah, Larry Kemp won't use that as an excuse.
No.
But they played well. Again, chance to win in the fourth quarter, down by 1 score. And Harding put another one on the board late, and good ball game overall for them.
When you're playing, it was a big day
turnovers.
for them.
You can't win with all those turnovers.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, they struggled a little bit in the special teams, the punting a little bit, some short punts. But on the road, like you just said, when you're playing, you're a superior team. You can't turn the ball over. You can't make mistakes. You just can't let things get away. They had a chance. They had the ball down 2. They hold Harding 3 and out, middle of the field. Throwing interceptions. Tough.
Down the road, Harding and Hubbard hooked up, or Howland and Hubbard hooked up in a big ball game. Hubbard came in there 4-0.
Yeah.
Howland put on a nice little whooping on him.
And you know what? I talked to those 3 guys that we're going to interview down here in a couple minutes, but they're getting hot at the right time. You can't, if you want to get hot, you'd rather be hot middle to end of the season as opposed to in the beginning. And that the talent, those guys. I mean, those 3 kids, they're good-looking kids, man. You see them you see Dana Ball or some guys talking about them. Then you see them in person. Those are good-looking kids.
They got a lot of momentum at the right time.
Heck yeah. And Hubbard's a good team, and that's a team that Hubbard's had talent.
Lost
the
a
last
ton
couple
of talent too.
Yeah, and they
4-0, they were coming into Howland.
Yeah, and I mean this is a time to where, and Hubbard's in a situation where they've had guy Larry Scott at George Hill. They've kind of beat up on everyone in that conference. This might have been a time where everyone's going to try to put it on them, and they're 4-0. They're holding their own.
4-1 now.
Yeah, 4-1. Yeah.
After a loss.
Yeah.
Another interesting game. Canfield went over to Struthers. Boy, I was kind of expecting Canfield to do a little bit better, but Struthers might be the real deal.
Yeah. I was worried a little bit. I saw Struthers play in person against Liberty. I think you were there as well. They
and they lost to Niles, which kind of
and Niles.
Season
Niles is a big team. They're a mystery to me. At one week they look great. But Struthers, they got a good offensive line. They got a
big line.
Coach Kuntz does a good job there.
AJ Muzzolino.
Yeah, good quarterback.
Good running back.
The kid that came from
Mitchell.
McKinley.
Yeah.
I mean, they got talent there, and it's coming together. It's just once again same thing. You want to get hot in the middle of the end of the season.
Cardinal Mooney seems to be recovering after their week 2 loss to Boardman. 4-1 now.
Yep.
They got a bye though. I bet they're not happy about having a bye week right now.
It could be good or bad. We went through it. Sometimes it's much needed. Now, we went into a bye after getting our butts whooped, at Mentor Lake Catholic before. So
when you played,
when I played and when I coached, we kind of limped into it. So it was much needed. You kind of figure out where you got to be. So one year, in fact, we changed our offense when I was coaching at Ursuline. We changed our offense, and we ended up we beat Steubenville 42-13 coming off our bye. So, I mean, it could be good. It could also be a problem. So,
it seems like they're recovering. They're hitting their stride right now.
Yeah, the tough part of their schedule is coming up. They play a good Kinesis team from New York. They're going to play Ursuline. They got to go play Lynn Bowden from Harding. So,
And Fitch is on the schedule, I believe, too. It's not going to be easy for the Cardinals.
No.
Ray Anderson having a good year. Just accepted he's a scholarship guy to the Naval Academy as well.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, him and Mark. So
yeah,
he's having a good season, and Mooney seems to be recovering from that Boardman loss.
He's a good-looking kid, and anytime there's a guy who can throw the ball and run, he wears number 15 for Mooney. He's going to be special. And Antonio Page, he's a special kid, man.
He's a good baseball player who's turned into a good number 15 quarterback at Cardinal Mooney. When you play quarterback and you have number 15 at Mooney, I guess that's your responsibility. You've probably seen some of that with McCarthy and company.
Yep.
Speaking of teams, though, that went into a tough stretch since they played Mooney, Boardman has had a hard time losing 3 in a row, losing again this past week to Perry. They travel to Canfield. That's probably a must-win for both of those teams to salvage their season in some way.
I mean, it's going to be Boardman needs to get back. I think we had those kids in here earlier. I don't think they're the type of kids that's going to let something beat you. They're not going to lose twice. I think they had a tough stretch of good teams. They had Massillon, Jackson, they had Perry. I mean, they're not playing no slouch teams, and they're playing good teams. I'm sure, Travis being a big kid, I think in that Mooney game, Boardman's running the ball team, pro style team. Now they start airing it out a little bit. And I think he ain't sneaking up on anybody anymore.
Yeah.
So but this is a must win for like you said, for both teams.
For both teams, if they want to have any hopes of any kind of postseason, I think. South Range went down to Lisbon, 2 very good football teams, and they kind of laid a whooping on them as well.
Yeah, I mean and I think South Range is another one of those teams. It's similar to where Harding is now, where Ursuline's probably going to be. They were a young team. They took their lumps. They're used to success, and now they're back. And it happens. It's a cycle. Sometimes sometimes you got to play those young kids. But Coach Yeagley, every year it seems like it's 8-2, 9-1, 10-0, and when it's not, it means something's coming. That's the big thing.
Sure, and Columbiana's another team. I'd like to get that Mitch Davidson in here 1 week.
I've heard
they seem to be after that loss to Crestview. In week 2, I think it was, they're 4-1, and they seem to be in a good position halfway through the year with Coach Spade.
There's a lot of teams that are starting to hit their stride, which means second half of football is going to be really exciting, and I think people are going to start playing themselves out, and there's a lot of must-win games this week. There's a lot of now Drew Pastor starts to get on his site, and you get your projections, and you can't look ahead, but you got to kind of look ahead. You got to know where you got to win games. Now it's going to get exciting.
It is. It's as fast
Finally feels like football outside.
Yeah,
I
the
guess,
weather's starting to turn.
Yeah.
Well, today it was kind of warm, but
Yeah.
it's starting to turn cold. Halfway, the fastest 10 weeks of the season is right here.
Unbelievable.
Well, what was it like here last week? No Ohio State game, no YSU game.
You know, I give a shout out to my grandpa. It was his 75th birthday, so we had a nice little party for him here. So we had a good crowd here at the end. But football's catching on. We have the 10 big flat screen TVs. It was nice that we had a good crowd with no Ohio State game. Everyone was treated to a garbage Notre Dame versus Duke game in the afternoon. They got to see that, and then it's a good thing we have a big smoker. We upgraded our smoker to a bigger one, so we're doing. We do brisket, we do smoked corned beef Reubens, we do ribs, chickens. It's every Saturday. It's from starting noon, 12 o'clock on. All the TVs are going, and it's a good atmosphere. It's a fun atmosphere. It's laid back. It's somewhere. It's not a dive bar to where you can't bring your kids. We have kids come here, sit back and eat. It's nice after JV games at Rocky Ridge up the street. Families come in and eat. So it's coming along, and I'm excited.
Great, and a big weekend now with both teams back on the docket for this weekend. Anything special for YSU this week?
Same tailgate party, tailgate special. We'll have all the food going on. It's a simple ride on the street. We have a shuttle going to take people there. It's hard to find a parking spot down there, so we'll take care of you. They have their big they're red out down there, so they're hoping to get a good crowd, and hopefully the weather holds off for everybody. So.
And of course, none of this would be possible without Sergeant Bob doing his thing behind the lens over there with MVP Entertainment. So we're lucky to have the whole group. Seems to be a nice little combination.
Know what? And Sergeant Bob does a good here. He's great with us here on Wednesdays. He's even better with us here on Tuesdays. We do trivia night starting at 7:30. Trivia and karaoke, and that's another fun thing. We started it in the spring. It was good in the spring, took the summer off, and now we're back. So we're excited. A lot of exciting things going on here. It's football season. We'd love to have you stop in.
Great. Well, let's get to what we're here for. We're going to talk with coaches from Warren G. Harding and the Howland Tigers and some of the players as well. And we'll have more from Kelly's Bar in Youngstown, Ohio with Yards After Contact. And welcome back to Kelly's Bar on Mahoney Avenue in Youngstown. This is Yards After Contact. I'm sitting here with Coach Manny from the Howland Tigers. Coach, well, first of all, congratulations. You're on a nice little roll here. A couple big wins for your program, sitting at fourth in your region, computer points-wise. Things are going good for the Howland Tigers right now.
Yeah, things are going great. We've been fortunate the last couple weeks to come away with some big victories, and the Poland one was huge for us and got things rolling. So we're excited.
Anything clicked in the last couple weeks, or what's the difference right now? Or
well, overall, our
3-2, right? 3-2.
3-2. Football team's getting better. Our offense is starting to click and put some points on the board, which is great. Defense is playing well, and special teams is playing well. So when you can dominate or win 2 out of the 3, you're going to win the game.
How exciting was that Poland victory? I mean, can you? It was listening to it on the radio. I was on my way traveling actually to Oklahoma for the Ohio State game, and I had it on iHeartRadio. So I listened to the whole game.
Yeah, it was
just
exciting.
I was ready to write you off there for a little while.
Yeah, we dug ourselves in a hole the first half, and then second half we found a way to put things together. We had a score on special teams and a score on defense, so that kept us in the game. And then second half our offense started to click, and we did some good things, and we're able to pull it away.
Now, what's with these long passes for Howland? I mean, that's not the Dick Engel Howland Tigers that I'm used to.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, we got a skill set of guys that are pretty good, and find a way to get the ball down the field and get the ball in their hands. So, if it's working, don't break it.
Are you still a running team? Can you classify your team? What does What does Howland look like from your perspective?
Well, we've become more versatile than years past, and like I said, you know, with skill guys that we have, it's you got to find a way to get them the ball, and you know, we were able to take some shots down the field and capitalize on those. So you know, that's got to be part of our offense. But you know, we want to run the ball first, so you got to get the running game going, and it's high school football, so you know, you got to be able to run the football.
Dom, you had a big victory last week against Hubbard. I don't know how big it was, but you know, Hubbard seemed to be on a roll. Not expected. I don't think everybody's expecting them to be 4-0 probably
Right.
coming into your game. And you guys pretty much laid a whooping on them, didn't you?
Yeah, you know, anytime you can beat Hubbard, number one, you know, you're gonna have a good night, and
20 to nothing.
20 to nothing, and you know, our defense played exceptionally well with the shutout, but we were able to score early and get on the scoreboard, and you know, we just didn't let up. Our kids played extremely well.
Who's playing well on offense for you guys?
You know, our quarterback's playing well, Samari Dean, and
Yeah, I want to ask you about him real quick. Tell us about Dean, a transfer into the program.
correct.
How's he
Correct.
doing? Is he where he needs to be? Did he stay out last year, or what was the situation?
He moved in from Warren, and he had to sit out early for us. You know, but he's been working and getting better, and you know, things just are clicking a little bit better with him in the offense, and he's getting the ball to our guys, Tyreek Ellis and Stevie Baugh and Victor Williams. So you know, our offensive line's getting better. So we knew coming into the season the offensive line was going to be a question mark, and it took some time for those guys to grow and develop some chemistry. But you know, like I said, the last 2 or 3 weeks they've been playing well.
Tell us about Eric Angaro's defense. How's it going for you guys on that side of the ball?
You know, Coach Angaro's been doing a great job with the defense for a number of years. But you know, our defense is always based on running and tackling, and we do it every day. And you know, again, hats off to our defensive coaches and Coach Angaro. But you know, the defense is usually where we hang our hat, and we're going to continue to do that.
What's your outlook right now, from your perspective, Coach?
Well, you know,
Be as honest as you can.
Yeah, no doubt. Tell our kids all the time, it's about us getting better, and it's about worrying about ourselves. We can't worry about what somebody else is doing, what other teams are doing. We got to focus on fundamentals, and defensively keep running and tackling. And offense, we got to gel a little bit better and eliminate some of the mental mistakes. And we're going to be a pretty good football team.
Home game again this week?
We are home this week, and the next two after that.
Next
So
two. You got East and who?
East, Perry Traditional out of Pittsburgh, Division I school out of Pittsburgh, and then we wrap up the home stand with Niles that last week, and then we head into Canfield and Warren Harding. So we got a tough stretch ahead of us, but you know, we'll take our shots.
Could be an interesting week 10 between you and your little backyard rival over there.
No doubt, it's always a good one, and you know, crosstown rivalry, and you know, our kids know their kids, our coaches know their coaches, and you know, we're going to let everything hang out and go play our game.
Have you heard of that Lynn Bowden guy before at all?
Yeah, he's not bad. Special kid, so you know, we'll worry about them in a few weeks and go do our thing.
I got to ask you, is Victor Williams, is he finally a senior now or what?
He's finally a senior.
We've been talking about that kid forever.
Yeah, no doubt.
Great player for you, huh?
Absolutely.
What can you say about him on the field?
No, he's got a football IQ that's pretty darn good, and you know, it's almost like having another coach on the field. So definitely we're going to miss him, but we're going to enjoy the next couple weeks.
Where's he better at, position-wise?
On the field.
Anywhere,
He
huh?
can
Selling
do a lot of
popcorn,
things. He
too?
can sell popcorn and take tickets and do it all. So, you know, you've got to keep him healthy. And like I said, we'll enjoy the next couple weeks.
You have Tyreek here and Stephen Bob. What can you say about those two young men?
Again, both of those guys are dynamic as well. And, you know, their leadership roles have stepped up and increased. And, you know, offensively, you got to get both those guys the ball. Tyreek runs it hard. And you know, Stevie plays great linebacker for us on defense, and you know, he's a guy that can stretch the field on offense. So we got to keep him healthy and continue. Those guys got to continue to lead.
Do you talk much about Week 11 at all?
No, not at all.
No.
Not at all. Not at all.
Is that a Dick Angle thing, or is that just
No,
how it is
I
now?
think it's, you know, it's our guys know, and we talk about it all the time. If you want to get to where you want to go, you